Hola, amigos. Soy Chris. And you're getting two videos this week. Yeah. Uh Anyway, for a plethora of reasons, one of which is I have decided, since it seems as if Star Wars isn't gonna make good Star Wars, I'm gonna make good Star Wars, except it won't be Star Wars because it'll be a fantasy series instead. Because the thing is, if you think about Star Wars and you try to fit it into like a fantasy type framework with, like, let's say that instead of being set in space, it's set on the high seas with a bunch of different islands and continents and stuff, it actually works shockingly well. And you can just replace the Force with, like, either telepathy or my idea was water magic, because I have had stuck in my head for a while a magic system involving water. And not just liquid water and ice like Avatar, but also water vapor, because, water is in everything. And, if you had total control over water, you'd probably have as long as you stayed on planet Earth, you'd probably have powers rather closely, similar to those of the Jedi, and probably even cooler. And the thing is, the idea of like a religious order that practices a particular kind of magic, like a bunch of clerics or something, is not a very distant idea from like fantasy and science fiction at all. It works. And also, think about the droid army in the prequels. Well, skeletons. We can just have a big bunch of necromancers and their skeletons. Skeleton army. Or maybe not even that. Maybe it could be golems, like a bunch of stone men, or like men made from stone or clay that are animated, but the power of magic is, so that creates a near infinite and incredibly disposable collection of warriors, as would, orcs for the clone army, because orcs are essentially just genetically modified soldiers. So, we instead of a clone army, you can have an orc army. And that is, it's just, it works. If you think about it really hard, it works. And the thing is also, what I can do is, once I just want to see, I want to write one book. I will write essentially like episode 1, except as a fantasy novel. And if it works, and if nobody notices that it's a ripoff, or at least if they cannot legally accuse, if it is different enough that they can just say, oh, it's a ripoff, but it's a perfectly legal ripoff, then I will continue to publish more until I have get to where the sequels are, with episode 9 and episode 8 and 7. And just when I get to episode 7, and what I will do is I'll scour YouTube to find out what the movie should have been, what the sequels should have been, and I will, make a more original work, essentially, of how good the sequels could have been if it weren't for Disney being a bunch of bungholes. I will not touch The Mandalorian, because that show is too good by itself and doesn't tie in much, if at all, to the main movies, and so would be of little use to me. I will, however, greedily fondle the Clone Wars TV show for ideas and stuff for this series of novels, which I plan to publish. And I hope to have ideas from you guys, because for one thing I need names, because it would be pretty flipping obvious if I was like, oh yes, Luke Skywalker, the water warrior, whatever. I can't just have it be that, so I need names. And I can think of a few on my own, but it'd be much easier if I had your guys' help. So, will you help me make it Star Wars, but as a fantasy novel, just as an experiment to see if people will notice, and even if they do notice, if I can get away with it? and feel free to suggest all kinds of changes, because the thing is, I might not even make something that is a ripoff so much as something that is just heavily based upon, simply because of the things that, while most of it does fit, a lot of it does not fit, and I would have to change certain things. For example, the mechanics of operating like a bunch of magical golem facilities or whatever, that's a much more that's a decently different process, possibly more expensive, possibly less than the mass production of the droid army. And the thing is, even for Grievous, the cyborg general of the droid army, even for him it'd be pretty easy, because he can just be a lich, a zombie witch. So that'll be easy. And yeah. So I need your help to help me cook up these new concepts and stuff, and probably a name for the book series. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what Disney never could, and make a good Star Wars stuff, except this time it's fantasy, because science fiction is overdone, kind of, and also because just because I can and I want to. That is why, because I can and I want to, and also just as an experiment. I might even continue past the first one if the first one does not hash out properly. Maybe if the U.S. government does decide this infringes ever so slightly too much upon the Star Wars copyright, I can just change it more. So I might just continue with the thing in a slightly more altered form from the already slightly altered form of the thing. So, hey. So I just help me, please. Help me rip off Star Wars. I'm trying to be because I am a Star Wars fan, but I don't like where the whole franchise is gone. So I just feel like, you know what? Screw you, Disney. I'm going to prove that a fan can do Star Wars better than you without even doing Star Wars at all, So please, my dear friends, help me. Help me stick it to the man. Help me make Star Wars great again. When I get an editor, I'm going to have him edit all kinds of Donald Trump memes around here, because Make America Great Again was pretty catchy meme, even if you don't agree with it, you gotta admit. It's a good slogan. Anyway, so, that's about the whole idea, and I'm just going to pad for time until I get to 10 minutes, just to see if that will cause these videos to become any more viewed, because that seems to be the standard thing on YouTube now. So not only will I take advantage of Star Wars in a matter altogether, perhaps slightly less legal, but probably altogether more moral and with more care for the franchise than has Disney, but I will also take advantage of the YouTube algorithms, because there's nothing more fun than taking advantage of people you don't like for your own personal gain. I'm being partly sarcastic there, but not as much as I probably should be. I need help, don't I? Padding for time is so boring. You really should have just shut off when I told you I'd be padding for time, and also here's Yoshi. Hey, Chris, are you sure you're okay? He's not okay. No, I'm not. I'm not Yoshi. If I were okay, I would not be talking to a tiny green dinosaur. That's a good point. You would not be talking to a green dinosaur if he were mentally stable. You should help him. He is thinking of getting a Patreon or maybe an Etsy store soon, so you should really give him some money so he can go see a therapist as soon as he gets all that set up. You'll find a link in the description of this and his other videos as soon as all that is done. Probably in a month or 7. Because he is a lazy teenager who will be moving house soon. Give or take about, okay, so what was it? about 5 months. In about 5 months, give or take a few weeks, about 5 weeks, I suppose, should be about right. Yeah. Anyway, that is all. Oh, look, we just hit the 10 minute and a few seconds. Okay, we will. Goodbye, friends. If you're wondering why I have such a weirdly generic Latin accent, that is because Christopher Christoph here is slightly racist. He's slightly racist or something. What is it? Are you racist or just insensitive? I don't know. I'm the one who needs therapy, not you. That's a good point. Goodbye, mi amigos.